going to just read them. Okay. And here's the first one. Okay, he might not be willing to answer this, but I would be curious to know which luthiers out there that he admires. And this is from Bob.
From Bob.
This is from Bob to Bob, yeah.
I tell you the truth, there are so many, there are too many to name.
Because you'll leave somebody out.
Yeah, and I don't want to offend anybody. There are a lot of great guitar makers out there nowadays, more than ever in history.
Right, yeah.
And so that's good news.
All right, this is from Terry. It says, I'd like to know what type of material Bob uses for the finish. Does he still use lacquer, or has that been out for years? Nitrocellulose? If waterborne, what brand? Does that make any sense?
Oh yeah, it's a good question. As a matter of fact.
George.
Okay, George. We still use the traditional nitrocellulose lacquer on the guitars, and it's formulated for musical instruments. It's the finest grade of nitro lacquer money can buy. Good stuff. It's flexible, which allows the wood to vibrate, and yet it's hard enough where we can polish it to a high gloss.
Right. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I've noticed going through guitar shows, every year, many of them, I used to go to more than I do now, but I always would. I remember the first time I said, "Geez, Bob," I says, "all these guys are copying your tailpiece, and it seems like they're copying a lot of your designs, your concepts and innovations." And I remember, and so I'm asking you. I mean, how do you feel about that when you see that? You go walk through a guitar show.
I'm honored, actually. It's a compliment. It pretty much further entrenches me in the archtop guitar making world, and I think elevates me that much more. It doesn't hurt, that's for sure.
Right. So you take it as a compliment.
Yeah, sure.
Somebody else would say, "Wow, this guy might, this guy really knows what he's doing. I'm going to make him like that."
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I think that's a good thing.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Bob. This is kind of like might be an uncomfortable question, but I've heard this rumor, and it's strictly rumor, and that some of the body parts and some parts are being manufactured in China and being sent to you, and they're being assembled here. Something along those lines. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
And it is a rumor, and there's no truth to it whatsoever.
Right.
No, everything we make right here in the States.
Right.
Nobody makes our parts, especially overseas, anywhere.
Right. Okay. Okay. Well, that settles that then.
It does settle that.
Right. Okay. So it's kind of a drag for you to hear that.
Yeah, it's a drag. Once again, it's a compliment in that somebody, whether it's an individual maker in Ohio or a manufacturer in China, it's complimentary to me that they think enough of my work where they want to copy it. But it's also really a lousy thing to do, quite frankly. I would never copy anybody. I don't believe in it. I don't buy into it. And if there's any rumors out in the field to that effect, it is just that, a rumor. And,
So it's kind of like a low blow, like to try and discredit everything that you set out to do here, is to make it all American made, everything made here. I have to say that as an American, I'm very proud that our guitars are made right here in the States by Americans for the whole world to enjoy, in fact. I mean, we don't manufacture many things right now in this country, and that's unfortunate, but it's the way things are. But no, I know that this can work. I know we can manufacture in the States, whether we're making guitars or automobiles, folks. We can do it, and good for us, and I think this is worth mentioning. Yeah, I think it's a good thing to point out,
Sure.
Because as far as I know, I know two things that are made in the United States is Benedetto guitars and Zippo lighters. Still.
Zippo, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
But no, it's really important, This is a kind of a neat question too. This is from, I only have their login names. It's Jazz Nan. I don't know what it means. Anyway, it says, I'm amazed at the acoustic quality of the Frank Vignola model. To me, that guitar seems like a real breakthrough in guitar building. Do you feel the same? And could you elaborate on the Frank Vignola model?
Well, the Frank Vignola model I designed with a purpose, and that was to take that traditional gypsy style guitar a la Machiavelli, Summer, and incorporate my own archtop ideas into what is otherwise a flat top guitar with a round hole.
Right.
I always, although I love the music, the gypsy jazz style, I never really was very fond of the sound that these guys were getting. Even Django, obviously a great musician, but his guitar sounded bad.
Yeah.
That's why they stopped making those guitars. They were bad.
It did.
Anyway, they become faddish and they're back on the scene, and that's great. But I wanted to incorporate the carved top and carved back and add a little richness to the voice of the instrument, and that's what this gentleman is here.
Yeah, he heard
Frank.
Yeah.
And Frank, of course, it has a lot to do with the player. You know
he's a
that.
great player, sure. Yeah. And then there's a little another little thing he added here. He says, "Do you?" I think we kind of covered this, but he says, "Do you have any advice for players who can't afford his guitars? Would he make an entry-level model or something like that?" Well, you have.
That's what the Bravo Bambino are all about. Yeah.
Okay, so see, it's funny because that's obviously this guy doesn't, didn't know. Now this is from a good friend of ours, and she's one of the volunteers on our site, and name is Barbara Cuvier. This kind of a neat question. It says, on a personal level, how have Bob and Cindy adapted to living in Georgia after so many years in PA?
Well, we lived in Pennsylvania for 10 years.
Right.
Prior to that, 13 years in Florida.
Okay.
So, and we love Savannah. I never thought I'd live in the state of Georgia. I never thought about it, but here we are, and it's a great town. I mean, it's very cultural. Historic district is incredible. The restaurants are out of this world.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we love it. Okay. And we stay very, very busy, so we have no time to do much of anything else.
Leave it to Barbara to do that. Here's another really good one. This is from Nick Clyde. It says, curious about how archtops, jazz boxes, stand up against temperature and humidity compared to regular acoustics. This is the one thing that has prevented me from buying an archtop. I wonder what he means.
I know what he means. Okay. With climate change, wood moves often.
Right.
Well, on a flat top, actually, to answer your question in a nutshell, the archtop guitar will stand up better than a flat top acoustic.
Okay.
Remember, the arch on the top and the back are made to move. They're made to expand and contract. That's what they do. Otherwise, there'd be no sound. Now, if you go to extremes, the wood can crack just like it can on a flat top. But so you have an adjustable bridge, which you don't have on the flat top acoustic.
Right. So he kind of has it. He's thinking about it backwards.
He should buy a Benedetto archtop.
There you go, and then you won't.
His problem.
Here's just checked out the Benedetto webpage, and that guitar is sweet. He actually posted the picture. It looks like a Bambino, right?
Bambino.
Nice price too. Just wondering how it sounds acoustic, or does it sound more like a solid body?
Interestingly, it does not sound like a solid body. The Bambino has no sound holes. It's a closed body. It's laminated, but it's designed to be as acoustic as possible with that type model. You can actually hear it unplugged.
Yeah. When I played it in the office, it sounded good.
Not at all like a solid body.
Right. All right, this is from Steve Knight. It says, could you ask Bob to talk about any unusual guitars he's built? I seem to remember a pizza guitar a while ago.
Pizza. That was the Pizza.
Pizza, right.
Yeah. The impetus for that was that just a laugh, a goof. I was and always have been considered a very serious maker because I always had focus on a serious guitar, and my players were always serious, schooled musicians. So this was just a way of relaxing and stretching out.
I remember playing the guitar and telling him, it still sounds like a Benedetto, and it still plays like a Benedetto. So there's also, you know what? Can I mention a wine?
Sure.
There's David Miner Wines. Was it a year ago, 2 years ago? Started to make a Benedetto vintage.
I'm going to say 3 or 4 years ago now. I don't remember. Yeah.
Right. And now, if somebody wanted to buy that wine, where would they get it?
MinerFamilyVineyards.com.
Yeah. We drank some of it last night, and we drank a lot of it actually last night, and it's really, it's excellent. It's terrific. Really, really nice. And so there's a lot of stuff that you sell on the website too, like guitar straps, guitar Benedetto strings,
Polish.
polish,
Yeah, yeah.
shirts. What else?
Shirts, hats,
Right.
guitars.
Even the wine
Wine glasses, as a matter of
that
fact.
have the logo
That's
on
right,
it,
yes,
and it says
yeah.
Benedetto wines.
Yeah.
You know. So, all right, Bob. Thanks for the time, and thank these guys that wrote in for some questions.
Yeah.
And
I want them to write in now and compliment me on my pretty pink shirt.
on your
Nobody's
shirt,
complimented on my
see,
shirt.
it is a nice color.
Yeah.